Vamos dar continuidade à nossa programação. Vamos ter agora o painel Charting New Horizons, Collaborative Opportunities between Brazil and Malta. So I'd like to invite to the stage the ambassador of Malta to Brazil, Sir John Aquilina. Please, Sir John, welcome to the stage. You're welcome.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. And first of all, my apologies that this presentation will be made in English and not in Portuguese. So I suggest those of you who cannot understand English that you may take an opportunity to go and obtain the headsets for the translations. Otherwise, I'm happy to continue to proceed. As I've been introduced, I am the ambassador of Malta to Brazil. In fact, I am the first ambassador of Malta to Brazil, and my task at the moment primarily is to establish the embassy, which I'm doing in Brasilia. I live in Brasilia, and also to establish the links between Malta and Brazil. And one of the questions I get asked all the time, both in Malta and in Brazil, is why take this step? After all, Malta and Brazil are a long way from each other. Malta is very small, with a very small population, and Brazil is very large, with a very large population. Seemingly, on the surface, it would appear to many people that we have nothing in common. But in actual fact, we have a lot in common. And that is what my task is to do, is to make obvious the things that Brazil and Malta have in common and how we can support each other, learn from each other, and also financially and diplomatically benefit each other. Okay, a few little facts about Malta. We are a member of the European Union. In fact, the 24th nation to establish an embassy in Brazil from the European Union out of the 27. We are, of course, also a country with a long history in Europe, but also we are a country that's experienced the crossroads of civilization. We are in the middle of the Mediterranean. So our history has remnants of Moorish history from North Africa, obviously European history, but also we are close to the Middle East, so we are strategically located in that regard. For Brazil, this can have benefits. But also there are other things that Brazil can benefit from as far as Malta is concerned. Take this conference, and why am I speaking at this conference? This conference, this expo, has been organised by Sigma. To some people, it may come as a surprise that Sigma is a Maltese company, and that the founder of Sigma, Imam Poulis, is a young Maltese businessman. Walking around this expo, I have been very impressed to discover so many of the people with pavilions here have actually been to Malta and have actually got enterprises in Malta. And there are many enterprises that have pavilions here today that, although they may not originate from Malta, they may originate from other parts of Europe, they actually do have strong bases in Malta. And there are companies here, particularly in Sao Paulo, that are registered as companies in Malta. And although they do business here in Sao Paulo, the origins of their existence are in Malta. And in fact, another young businessman who has the catering franchise for a number of your major stadiums here in São Paulo, Mark Zammit, is also a young Maltese businessman. Why is Malta here at this conference today? Why is Sigma here? Well, we are a small country, so therefore our expertise is not in large-scale manufacturing. Our expertise is in things like digital technology, computer programming, digital animation. And now I think you understand where I'm coming from. These are all things which are so vital for the iGaming industry. And without the digital technology and the animation and everything else that goes with it, it's very difficult to be able to program iGaming. That is why the founder, Iman Poulos, started up Sigma, which has now become a global organization with a very large presence here in Brazil, and through Brazil, a large presence in Latin America. Another thing which Malta is very expert in is finances. Whether those finances be in blockchain or crypto technology or just ordinary financial transactions. Malta is the fifth largest financial centre of Europe. So a fact which is not commonly known. And of course, the financial sector and the iGaming sector go hand in hand. The two are very, very important because a lot of money is involved, so that money has to be securely invested, legally invested, and it has to be transacted in a responsible way. So another reason why I am here today, to show you that there is a basis and a link. In Malta, I get asked, why Brazil? In Brazil, I get asked, why is Malta here? I have many, many answers to those questions. What we are seeing today, what we are experiencing at this expo, is one of those answers. There are other issues as well that I could go into. For example, the use by Brazilian business of Malta as a strategic distribution hub for Europe, for North Africa, for the Middle East. We are talking to port authorities about that, and also the aviation authorities. Embraer is also looking at the aviation hub, which we are establishing in Malta for cargo distribution throughout many parts of that area of the world. The other reason why I am involved with this is because I strongly believe in what is happening with iGaming here in Brazil. You may have noticed from my accent, it's not a typical Maltese accent. I was born in Malta, but I grew up in Australia. My current career is that of a diplomat, and I've now been a diplomat for Malta for over 11 years, close to 11 years. Initially in India, then in China, in Beijing, and now here in Brasilia. But I've also been an ambassador overall to 10 countries, because in India I was the ambassador to Nepal and the High Commissioner to Bangladesh. In China, besides being the ambassador to the People's Republic of China, I was the ambassador to the Philippines, to Vietnam, to Mongolia, and to Cambodia. And here in Brazil now, as the first resident ambassador for Malta and Latin America. I'm not only the ambassador to Brazil, but a few weeks ago I presented my credentials in Chile. I'm also now the ambassador to Chile, and I deal with a lot of issues affecting Latin America. I'm very happy to be centered in Brazil, because I believe that Brazil is very much the heart of Latin America, the voice of Latin America. And what happens in Brazil has enormous consequences for the rest of this continent. My growing up in Australia was one where I was involved heavily in politics. I was a legislator for something like 30 years and a mayor for a further 2 terms. So 34 years in all before my 11 years as a diplomat. And I know something or two about legislation and why it's important. I was very interested in a panel that we had earlier today where we had 3 distinguished legal representatives talking about why legalise this game, why bring it out in the open. And I think it doesn't take much thinking to understand and to appreciate that it is important to legislate, it is important to legalise something like gaming, because if you don't, you will leave it open then to those who are illegally doing it, to those who will take advantage of marginalised people, to those who want to make profit underhandedly. I'm very pleased to note that we have just been joined by Congressman Newton Cardozo Jr., thank you for coming, who has been a very strong supporter of this legislation here in Brazil for many, many years. I am very pleased to be a partner with him in supporting the Brazilian legislation and in promoting legal iGaming. Legal iGaming is a way of satisfying a natural need. Gambling has been with us since the dawn of humanity. It is one of the things that people want to do. For some people, it's one of the things that they need to do. If we don't legislate for it, if we don't give them an avenue to do it legally and to do it openly, then they will do it underhandedly. They will do it at the mercy of those who are doing it illegally. They will be discriminated against, they will be put down, they will be marginalised, there will be people who will not have proper support. And I'm sure that no responsible Brazilian, no responsible person with a feeling for humanity wants that to be the case. So yes, let's support legal iGaming. Let's support government legislation. Let's support the regulators. Let's support the lawyers who want to interpret that legislation and to make it work. And let's make it work for the benefit of the people who want to be involved with this. Because if we don't do that for them, then others are going to do it for them, and they're going to do it in an underhanded way. They're going to do it in a way that will make them victims, not make them people who are in control of their situation. And if they do lose control, then they won't have any help. Whereas with a legalised, transparent, open situation, there will always be the organisations, the instruments to help those people who may not be able to help themselves in relation to issues like gambling. I am strongly supportive of this happening. I am strongly supportive of Sigma, obviously because it's a business enterprise from Malta and the brainchild of a brilliant Maltese businessman, Iman Poulis. But I'm also supportive of it because it is providing a strong link between Malta and Brazil. I started off by saying, what has Brazil in common with Malta? What does Malta have in common with Brazil? Well, at the end of the day, we are all human beings with the same interests, with the same concerns. We are all human beings who want to engage in similar activities, and we can all facilitate that to happen. Part of Malta's genius is in digital technology. We are the iGaming centre of Europe. That did not just happen by accident. We are very pleased, therefore, and very keen to bring that iGaming technology, that iGaming genius that we have here to Brazil, and to correspondingly support Brazil in working out how this legislation can be put into effect in a way which is of benefit to the people, but also of benefit to the government. And one area which I have not mentioned so far is that if we allow the sport to be conducted illegally, not only do we make the people participating in it victims, but we also deny a great deal of financial return that will come back to the government. So it's a win-win situation in both ways. The government legitimately can tax this industry, can raise revenue, which will be of benefit to the country. On the other hand, we will have responsible people openly and transparently running this industry, people who will be under scrutiny, people who will be subjected to the laws and to the regulations of this nation. And I think that that is a good thing. I am keen to continue to see how this develops. I am conscious of the fact that here in Brazil, this is very much still in its infancy. There is a long way to go, and there will be much debate about how it progresses and how it matures. I am really quite chuffled, in fact. I'm quite happy and quite pleased and proud of the fact that Malta is playing a hand in this. That we, from so far away, a small country, is able to provide a lending hand, a hand of support, a hand in partnership with a country like Brazil. And I extend my sincere congratulations to Imam Poulos, to Sigma, to all of the organizations involved here today, to you for being here and taking an interest in what is happening and in what I am saying. And I hope that we continue to advance this partnership to a fruitful end. It's only a start, but I think a very good start, a very positive foundation, a very positive platform from which to expand. And I look forward to coming here on future occasions and to see the progress that can be made. I was here at the Sigma conference in June of last year. It was great, but it was much smaller than today. The growth of what we have seen over the last not even 12 months, 10 months, has been phenomenal. Who can anticipate what the situation will be like in 12 months' time when Sigma has its next conference? Who can anticipate the amount of debate, the amount of discussion, the amount of soul-searching, the amount of infrastructure growth that will go on from now till the next 12 months? It's a bright future. It's a good future. It's a good future for Brazil as a nation. It's a good future for the people of Brazil. And I'm very happy and very honored to be Malta's ambassador here today, working in partnership with the government, working in partnership with the people of Brazil, working in partnership with my own people from Malta who are here to help and to make this happen. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and best wishes for the next 12 months and beyond, and best wishes for iGaming in Brazil.
Thank you, Sir John.